Hey, welcome to Jim Brown podcast. Man, I hope it's true. Today we've got Darren Smith with us. And Darren is a legendary guitar player, producer. He was with Tim McGraw for about 28 years and did a lot of things with Tim in the beginning of his career and got him going, so to speak, and he's just good at what he does. So let's all welcome Darren Day.
Thank you. Actually, it's 23 years.
23 years.
23 years.
It seemed like 28.
It seemed like 58, but no. I was playing down at Skull's Rainbow Room down in Printer's Alley. Remember that old place
I do.
down? And Tim used to come in there and sit in and sing, and he was a mediocre singer back then. And so he asked me one time, said, "You want to go to Delaware with me and play this honky-tonk out there that I play?" I said, "Delaware?" And he said, "Yeah, it'll be fun. I'll pay you this." And I said, "Well, I'd been at Skulls for about a year then night after night after night. And I thought, you know what? I need a break from Nashville, from Skulls." So I went back to Skull. I always sit way in the back and watched a little black and white TV. Remember that? He'd sit back there, and that was his world, And so I go back to tell Skull, "Hey, Skull, I'm going to sub out for the next 2 weeks. I'll get somebody to play for me, and I'll be back in 2 weeks." And he looks at me and goes, "Who are you?"
How about that?
I said, I'm the guitar player here." He goes, "Well, do whatever you're going to do." And went back to watching his TV, and I'm like, okay, well, there you go.
Wonder what he was watching.
Probably
Sanford and Son?
Beverly Hillbillies. He always wore those overalls, the hee-haw overalls.
The stripes with them. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. And too bad he got murdered.
Well, I think wasn't it robbery or something? They thought he had a bunch of money on him.
He had hired some guy to help him clean and stuff and help the boy out and everything. And everybody knew Skull kept a lot of money in his pockets and
bib overalls.
Yep, in his bib overalls, and kind of pulled a string bean on him.
Damn.
Yeah. But that was way after I left, though. So we went.
So let's
to
just
Delaware.
clarify, there was no involvement.
No, I was not involved. I was probably in Kalamazoo, Michigan at the time.
Is there any kind of documentation that you can prove it?
Probably can. So I went up to Delaware with Tim, and we had a good time. And that's when John Marcus, our bass player, I met him. And so he had told me up there, "Hey, I'm going to get this deal with Curb." And he goes, "In 3 months, when I get it together, I want you to put a band together for me." And I was like, "Yeah, right, I heard this. I've heard this many times before in this town."
Really? In Nashville?
Yeah, I heard it many times. But about 3 months later, he said, "Put a band together. We're going to go on tour with Joe Diffie. I got this record deal with Curb." So he went in and cut the first record, which was not very good. It was Tim at the beginning tried to sound like everybody else, like Garth, he hadn't come upon his own thing yet, And so the album kind of sounded country here and a Joe Diffie here, because Joe Diffie wrote 2 or 3 songs on there, and because they had the same management now. And
oh yeah, I remember those boys, Danny and
Johnny Slate and
Danny.
Danny.
Yeah. Danny's actually was my neighbor in Goodlettsville. I used to run my cattle on his property.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess they're all gone now, but
I don't know Johnny's where, but I know Danny passed away several years ago.
Yeah, Johnny was older, and so he had to be gone. All my friends are dead.
That's what my granddad used to say. They did an interview one time, and he said, "How do you stay in such great shape at 85 years old?" And he said, "Well, I'll tell you," he said, I kind of watch what I eat, and he said, and exercise. Why? He said, I'm pallbearer for all my jogging buddies.
That'll do it, won't it? That'll do it.
He said, he said, I swap sides every time. He said, I go on one side, and I'll get on the other side.
It is true. You know, I'm 64 now, so just had a birthday.
You're just a spring chicken.
Oh no. I wish I was. I don't feel like one, but I get around, you know, with the help of my friends.
You need a T-shirt that says that.
I do.
I get around.
I get around. They'll be thinking, get around. Yeah. No, I do all right now. You know, like I said, I do a lot of fishing. I am retired. Retired with Tim in 2011.
I remember. Then where did you go?
Yeah.
Where did you go? You went to Slumville. You went to play for me.
Yeah. Went to play for you and Marty Brown and
the Brown boys,
David Frizzell and you know. I didn't really want to play, but you made me. So
well, I needed the education, the road education, and I thought, you know, what better?
Well, you know,
between you and Jeff and I had some really good road education to get me back on my feet.
We definitely had education over that time, you know,
whether it was good or bad.
Yeah, I mean, same 8 guys for 20-some years. Yeah, Jeff. If you want any information from Jeff, all you got to do is ask him.
Oh, yeah.
He'll tell you.
And sometimes
2 hours.
Sometimes, you know, Jeff is a scholar of words.
Yeah.
And I call upon him quite often to finish or oversee something that I have written, and I think it's the best piece of material that I could write as far as a letter or something about someone, as that and other. I'll send it to Jeff and let him fix it and rewrite it,
embellish it. Yeah,
he is that is his forte.
And to be fair to Jeff, you know, I did his podcast. He's got a podcast called McMahon on Keys.
Really?
And we did it in 2 different things. Like I did a song I wrote that you really need to hear it because it's really good. Somebody's going to cut it, and if you don't, somebody's going to cut it.
And it's kind of like that story we talked about a while ago.
Yeah,
I've heard that before.
Yeah. I need to send you a copy of it. He's getting it mastered, so to send out to whatever. So. But anyway, and we talked like this, and another came back like 2 weeks later and then did the talking part and he put it together. And if you know how anal Jeff is, you know, he's got to have, you know, everything perfect, you know.
That's all right. You know, the world doesn't turn on harebrained ideas. You got to have somebody with a brain to put all the hairs together sometimes.
That's true.
And that was Jeff with us, because I've since the band that we have now is a good band, but I've learned that one thing I've learned, and I had to swallow the crow, is the band is only good as its leader, and the band leader that I was so used to, I can definitely tell is going to be hard to replace, because Jeff's moved on and doing other things now to kind of slow his life down a little bit, and I miss him. I'll be honest with you. Me too. Man, he turns around and talks to those guys, and I've watched video after video on shows and stuff that we've had videoed, and I never see it because I'm facing the audience and doing my thing. But Jeff's back there, you know. Yeah. He's like, you know, band leader, director.
Yeah, I love it when me and you and him did gigs together, because he takes the horn and he runs with it. Yeah. And you know, it leaves me just having to play, you know, because I play with you so long. I know most of your songs, except for all the new ones. But yeah, he's an asset. He really is. Enough about him. Let's talk about us.
So back to Tim.
Back to Tim. What I was going to say about Jeff with Tim is that Jeff back when I started with Tim, there wasn't no, YouTubes and
Yeah.
and all this stuff.
There was barely internet, and I think 2 years
barely,
prior to
yeah.
that, they had invented dirt, correct?
Yeah, pretty much. and we didn't have cell phones,
Yeah.
If we wanted to talk to our loved ones at home, you got one of them phone cards, and you find you a payphone,
Yeah.
and you call home about once a week, And we were running and gunning so hard, we were doing, out for 52 days one time.
God.
And maybe in that 52 days, there was maybe 6 or 7 travel days. The rest were actually play days, sometimes 2 shows a day. We played the arena, a rodeo arena in Texas, and then we left there, go to the Moose Club, and play the Moose Club that night,
Sounds like some of our Texas runs.
Yeah, there's a film of Tim laying back on the couch, and he goes, "Did you hear?" And I go, "What?" "We sold the Moose Club straight out." I'm like, "Oh boy, we made it now."
You remember we used to go down in January and February for years and play at those down in South Texas, and we'd play at those 55 and up communities.
Yeah.
Which paid decent money for January and February. If we'd stay and do 16, 17 shows in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But we would do a show there because they wanted their shows to kick off at 6. And then we'd leave and go to like the Mustang Lounge or the Longboard that night and play again. And it was doubling up our money,
Yeah.
And those were fun runs. So They was a lot of work, but they were fun runs.
Yeah. I had always had a good time on your gigs,
Yeah.
I
Tried to make them fun. If it wasn't fun, I didn't want to do it.
Remember the time we went down to Texas, to South Padre, where your dad was?
Yeah.
And me and you and somebody else stayed on the bus.
Vaguely.
We stayed on the bus at the retirement community where your dad was.
Right. We plugged into the shore power there and had the shop that they had the shower and all the shower stuff over there. So we parked the bus there and we Ubered to all the shows. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
They had a big shuffleboard thing in there. I went in there and played shuffleboard with all the older folks. I should say that now. I should be playing shuffle. But they had pool tables back there, and them old dudes would be,
living large.
Yeah, they play some of them guys at pool.
Yeah.
Some of them are sharks back there. They
lay back waiting for somebody like you to come in.
Yeah, exactly. They want my per diem.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember we went to eat at Applebee's, and I think you guys rode a Uber back or something, and I rode with your dad back. And he was showing me all this stuff from around this community. He knew everything about it, Yeah. And
he'd been there for about 20 years.
Yeah. We drove back, and he told me that. And he's a good dude.
Yeah. So with Tim, when the lights started getting bigger and he started doing big stage, your job obviously became more intense.
Yeah. My job was 24/7 with Tim. Because we were friends, he would call me at 2:30 in the morning, and I'll tell this one. It was absolutely true. Is that it was around Christmas time. I'd been put up Christmas lights at my house, and I was pretty wore out, and went to bed, and he calls me about 2:30 in the morning, and I go, "What's up, Tim?" And he goes, "I messed up, man." I go, "What happened?" He goes, "Well," he said, "I rented this big yacht, and we flew over to Greece and rented this big yacht and sat up there, and I ended up getting drunk and made an ass of myself in front of Faith and her parents. And now she won't talk to me. What do I do?" And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I got a little broke down bass boat sitting here, and it's good for if I can get it on Old Hickory Lake. It's hard for me to come to your world, Tim, and go, well,
Yeah.
I said, just quit messing up. That's all I can tell you. Go ask for her forgiveness and don't mess up. And that's. But then we'd get on talking, and it would be daylight when we get off the phone.
Oh, that's good that he had somebody like that, because I'm gonna be honest with you, you didn't have those issues when you run with us, but
No.
it was good to know that you were there, and just in case.
Yeah, and I was real happy when we a lot of blame went on the band. That when Tim got out of hand, and he did get out of hand, and we all did in the early parts. But by the time it got really bad on Tim, we were done with we were get on the bus after a show, turn on Fox News and eat whatever after show food was and go to bed, And so we got blamed for a lot of the way Tim was back then. When Tim finally, or Faith made him finally see the light, and he brought a couple life coaches out to travel with him, and he was one of those guys that were he would do everything to excess. He had to do everything to excess. The bottle of Grey Goose there, he can't drink just a drink and put it down. He got to drink the whole bottle. Just one of them kind of guys. And when he quit that, then it went to exercise.
Yeah.
And he would do it nonstop. He would just like a madman lifting, tractor tires and big ropes and all that. And he just, and some of the band guys went with him. I did not. I worked out at the hotel before the gig.
I gotcha.
I did my workout at the gig, and then or at the place, the hotel, and then I took a shower, and then I got on the bus to come over. But sometimes they would, as soon as we got there at 3:00 in the afternoon at the gig, Tim and some of the other guys would all dress out and run. We'd be in Phoenix when it was 110 degrees, and they'd take off running, not really knowing where they're going.
If you look at Tim's point of view, put yourself, my grandfather used to say, if you never understood something, put yourself in that person's shoes. With Tim, as green as he was coming into this business,
Mm-hmm.
and as quick as you said, threw him to the wolves, put him on tour almost immediately. Hey, put a band together in a period of 3 months. I'm going to be on the road. I'm going to be opening for Joe Diffie, touring with Joe Diffie. Yeah. And I know that Danny and those guys probably had him, like you said, double booked daily.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, as young as he was, and the pressure of not even having a really good, steady job?
Yeah.
To doing that 24/7, and somebody that it's already a built-in. I have a situation that a friend of mine is the same way, and I call it, and it may not be the right term, obsessive compulsive.
Yeah, that's the right term.
And he will give all to what it is he's focused on at that moment, and to hell with everything else.
Yeah.
And then when he's tired of that, it's like light switch, and let's go and see what
this direction,
Pandora's closet has got over here.
Yeah.
And those people are amazing that they can do that. That is to me as an attribute to your capabilities of life, to say, hey, you know what, I've done this.
Yeah.
I don't want to end like this, and I've always had the hankering to do this.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the acting thing came in with Tim. Just on the outside looking in, we do have a lot of mutual friends, and I got to meet Tim when he first came to town, through his management team and whatnot, to try to give him some work until he got that deal.
Right.
And
he couldn't hack it, could he?
Hell, it was labor, man. But I admire that because everybody says, I can't believe you walked away from music when you did. And then I tell them why. I had an option to, okay, my life was going to be music.
Yeah.
And I was going to leave my up and coming family at home,
Yeah.
And I had to make that choice. And I decided, hey, you know what? For the next 10 years, 12 years, however long it takes for me to get grounded, because I don't want to miss any of those first. I'm going to be a dad.
Yeah.
And walk away from this. Well, I had the opportunity, 2011, to come back into it with you guys.
Yeah.
And I swore the only reason I got back into that was to get into acting.
Yeah.
And so I'm at the age now to where I've retired from one business after 40 years.
Yeah.
12, 13 years back into the music. And I'm not saying I'm bored with that.
Yeah.
But it's I want to look over the next mountain and just see what's in the valley. Not that the grass is always greener, but
Right.
when you get after you turn 50, the reality of your life is like, oh man, there's so much more I want to do.
Yeah.
And you can't do 6 things and be good at it.
Yeah.
You've got to focus on 1 or 2 things and be good at those. If not, you'll suck at all of them.
Yeah. What's funny is that when I was retired from Tim, I actually, for the first time in my life, made a resume. And I'm looking at this resume going, dang, CMA winner, ACM winner, AMA winner, 4-time Grammy nominee. I'm thinking to myself, man, I'll have no problem landing me another gig if I want to do that.
Yeah.
But the trick is when you're 30 and you have those accolades and you go looking for a job, it's a lot easier to find at 30 than when you're 55.
Absolutely.
And
the want to.
So my only thing was that I had to give was I've got a lot of experience as far as handling people, band guys, management. Tim's management would call me if we were going to do Jay Leno and say, what do y'all, we keep asking Tim what song we're going to do on Leno. We can't get nothing out of him. Can you go talk to him and find out what song we're doing? So I'd have to drive out to his house and just go, hey, man, I just want to hang out and what are we going to do on Leno, And he goes, well, what do you think? I said, well, it'd be smart to do the hit right now,
Yeah.
And he goes, okay, we'll do the hit. And then I call him back and say, okay, we're doing this, And that would be it.
The middleman.
Yeah, a lot of times, but it was really a family kind of gig with Tim. We all knew his mother, his sisters, they all hung out. And I mean, we knew all of Tim's family. And then when Faith came in, she was like, we treated her like family, I mean, we were all at their wedding, and it was, and we played for Faith a lot, so it was.
Yeah, actually, some of the guys still play with her today that played with Tim.
Yeah. So it's actually some of the guys that played with Tim with me are still with Tim.
Yeah. Dino
and Denny and Bob. Yeah, which all of them are great players, and stuff. And we tried to have this deal now to where the 17th every month we get together at a restaurant, like the old band guys and stuff, and just have lunch and just talk about stuff. So and I think it took a while to get to that point because they didn't know how we felt about it. We didn't know how they felt about it,
Yeah.
So, and when we finally just broke the ice and said, let's just do it, and it was one of the best times I've had talking,
That's awesome. So in your, all your years with Tim out on the road, or just another story that you may have heard, what is the wildest story
The wildest
that
story
you've ever heard or you've ever seen, and you don't really know if it's true or not.
Oh, there's a lot of stories that are wild, but the problem is I know they're true because I was right there in the whole mix of it. You know, when you're young and single and got a lot of money, you know, and you think you got a lot of money, you know, more than you've ever had in your life, and it gets to you do things that a normal person would not do. And Tim, think about that a step higher than what I was. You know, he's making millions of dollars.
About 10 steps higher.
Yeah, and I'm making, you know, I mean, producing his records didn't hurt me didn't hurt my financial portfolio a bit. In fact, this year, 20th year of Live Like You Were Dying, and they're putting out Christmas they're putting out the real one, but they sent 1,000 copies to Walmart, a re-release, vinyl.
Oh, wow.
And it sold out within no time at all. So now they're going to release this thing with a booklet in it and a lot of old pictures and a lot of, you know.
Cool.
And it's a 2-record set, you know. And
sponsored by Grey Goose.
That's right. A lot of them were, you know. I mean,
Hey, I resemble that remark. That happens to be my choice of drink when I do drink. I like Grey Goose.
Yeah, Grey Goose isn't bad.
It's smooth. You don't have the hangover.
Yeah, I used to drink those dang Purple Hooters.
I got you.
And it got me, I was at the Trump Taj Mahal, and it was my birthday. I think it was my 40th or 50th birthday. I can't remember. But I went to the bar after the show, and everybody wanted to buy me a Purple Hooter. Everybody. Yeah. So I must have drank 25 of them things. I went to the bathroom, and I'm standing up in the stall. I ain't even out of my show clothes yet. And I'm standing there, and I'm going, I'm not going to get sick. I never get sick. What am I talking about? I never get sick. Oh, purple as far as you could see. And I'm like, oh, God, what am I going to do? I'm sliding around my boots and, you know, just purple everywhere. And I hear boom, 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 knock on the door. And he goes, man, you all right? It's Lonnie, our bus driver. I'm going, man, get me out of here. Get me to my room. So he literally, him and Dave Dunkley, the percussion player, literally carry me up to my room.
Oh, damn.
And I woke up the next morning naked on the bathroom floor. Don't know how I got there, but I was there about 10:30. I woke up.
So they didn't take you to the room; they took you to a P. Diddy party.
Yeah. Now that could, believe me, I checked. I was like, does my ass hurt? I ain't drinking those purple.
You're slipping around on the floor. Was there a lot of baby oil?
Yeah, I ain't drinking those purple hooters no more. They make my ass hurt. But yeah.
Well, with that being said, we're going to conclude this, and we're going to look right in the camera and go, God, I hope it's true.
Which camera are we looking at here,
whichever one you want to.
You got 3 of them. I'm awful confused. Look at that one right there. Yeah. Right there.
As he said.
What do you say?
Thank you, buddy. God, I hope it's true.
Yeah. I hope it's true. But you know what? It's true. Everything I told you today is true. But then again, who knows?